I love to work with the Doctor of Management students because they bring a lifetime of experience coupled with an absolute commitment to engage in the highest level of research. And their lifetime of engagement gives them an insight into the world that we're studying, the world of organizations, the world of management. The second thing I love is we have 15 or 20 students in a cohort, and that means the level of excitement, ideas that work off of each other, ideas that build on each other. One of the things that is very challenging at the beginning of our research journey with our students is to get them to think differently about what it is that they're doing. They have a lifetime of working in an organization where they have a fairly well described role, and they learn how to play that role. Much of the role has to do with problem solving. They know how to get the data that they need in order to solve a problem. The biggest challenge that we have is to get them to adjust their behavior, their whole attitude and outlook on what's happening in the organization, so that they can not go in as a problem solver, but they can go in as an inquirer, someone who is trying to understand what is going on in a way that enables them to contribute to knowledge. We're interested in doing it by bringing the best of social theory, best of economic theory, best of political theory, and so on, to the situation, to illuminate the underlying dynamics, to understand what it is that is generating the symptoms that people are experiencing as a problem. And that feeds with our whole emphasis on system thinking and on design, to learn how to do research in a way that surfaces an understanding of what is going on that is generating this situation. And once I understand that, I can make a contribution to social theory, economic theory, and so on, management theory, but I can also make a contribution to the organization by coming up with a solution that has a much longer life than what I would typically get when I am not guided by theory, but let sort of the experiences of the moment of the individuals that I'm working with guide the inquiry. The PhD in Design and Sustainable Systems is an especially exciting part of the doctoral program for experienced managers at Weatherhead. There we use a set of ideas that come from a fairly recent, emergent set of understandings that are related to complexity theory, related to system theory, drawing upon ideas from the sustainability literature, understanding what is it about the design of a system that makes it resilient to disturbances. What is it about a system design that enables it to adapt to a wide range of changing circumstances, to sort out how it relates to its environment and its customers, its stakeholders generally, so that it creates value that can be sustained over time, that it manifests in the design of the organization as a system, an understanding of how it interacts with its environment in a way that strengthens the organization and its capacity, but also gives value and strengthens the social and economic systems that it engages with. So it's very much a long-term view of the organization as opposed to a short-term view. It's very much a view of how complex systems generate a very wide variety of behaviors, but can still be understood because you can get to the key relationships that are at work in the design of the organization that enable it to follow consistent principles, which are actually quite noble principles. And the stability and the core of the management capability is in those principles, and they are capable of responding to most any situation. I think that is the really big important thing that we're doing. So the idea that there is a way to organize for most situations, we abandon all of that. That's never going to be the case. There always is a need to do a design inquiry into the nature of the situation that you're dealing with, the nature of what it is you're trying to do. What is the real thing that you are trying to achieve in the world with your organization? And if you can have a deep understanding of that, then you can think of how the system should be designed so that you are consistent in your ability to provide those kinds of services, values, products to the world in a way that has a long-term sustainability. It respects the culture, it respects human history, it respects the environment, and it has the greatest chance for survival, which is ultimately what we want to foster. One thing we're particularly proud of in our Doctor of Management program is the participation of our students in the academic world while they're students and after they graduate. While they're students, there are two major research projects they do, one qualitative project, one quantitative project. A part of the requirements for each of those projects is that they submit their paper from that year-long research to a major international conference. We have had just fantastic success in having our students have their papers accepted for presentation at the most prestigious conferences around the world. One example would be the Academy of Management. There could be 3,000 or 4,000 submissions. There may be 15 or 20% of the papers accepted for presentation. They have perhaps 100 or 200 doctoral students submitting papers. All the rest are faculty. These are faculty from leading schools all over the world. And we have 70 to 80% of our students have their papers accepted for presentation at that conference every year. That is pretty much unheard of. In addition, our students, because they do work that is very novel and is based on such hard to get data, either qualitative or quantitative data, they are making contributions to literature that are really seen as unique. They're seen as very important. They quickly become a part of the academic network. They get invited to present at conferences. They get invited to review papers for journals that are in the topics that their research is on, because their research is not cookie-cutter work that is duplicating somebody else's study with a few little wrinkles in it. They're asking questions where they might be the first person who's ever asked such a question, at least in the particular way they are, in the depth that they are, and of the kinds of subjects and companies that they are. So they very quickly become a part of the international conference scene and an active element in the academic world. So that to us is really the most important thing. After graduation, our students continue to publish. Of course, we can always do more, but life gets very complicated for everyone, especially once the program is over. But I would say our students have created at least 200 or 300 major publications and presentations at conferences in the last 5-6 years after they graduate. So it's a very exciting time.